In our next problem, we are looking at the yin-yang symbol, and we want to find the area of the shaded portion. Remember, it's very important that you spend some time truly understanding what makes this picture up. Because if you look at it very carefully, the obvious is that there is one big circle, and that this big circle is going to have a radius of 2 centimeters. Since the diameter of this small semicircle here, notice this is a semicircle, has a radius of 1 centimeter, so its diameter would be the radius of the big circle. And so again, we're going to have this situation where for number C, we're going to have A big, which is going to equal pi r squared, pi times 2 squared, or 4 pi. Now, looking very carefully at this picture, because it's a little bit hard to get past certain things, but you want to imagine the following. Since we're looking for the area of the shaded region, the area of the shaded region is what we're after, we need to find the area of the white region, and we need to take it out of the area of the shaded regions in order to find the full area of the shaded. Notice that this circle here is part of the white space. However, this semicircle up top is part of the shaded space. You can sort of think of this circle here being moved so that it fills this space in here, and in which case this would now become shaded. As a result, the entire region, and this you could think of as white if you wanted, therefore the region whose area we're looking for is actually half of the big circle. And so we'll find 1/2 of 4 pi, which will equal 2 pi centimeters squared. The last one, D, is a bit tricky because it's hard to see it immediately. You get very distracted by the white spaces and the petals. It's always a good idea, since they drew the reference points, to use that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this up into quadrants and just pay attention to what's going on in each of the quadrants. Remember that it's important that you know what the big picture is too. We're looking at a square, and the square has sides of 10 centimeters each. And so the area of the square, and this is the big square, is going to equal 10 centimeters times 10 centimeters, or 100 centimeters squared. So that's the area of the square. The key to finding the area of the white space now, because if we can take out the white space, we can find the area of the shaded space that's left in the square. And the area of the white space is actually much easier to find if you realize one of the tricks. So taking a look at just one of the quadrants, just one quadrant of this, notice how that quadrant is made. And this is why we sometimes have to draw pictures so that we understand what's happening. The way that this one quadrant in this corner, let's take this quadrant right here, the way that this is made is by using a circle. And we have a quarter circle here in order to section it off. Now, without my drawing the other part, what I noticed in drawing this one quadrant is that if I were to pretend for a moment that this entire section were shaded in, then I would be able to find the area of the white space. And if I can find the area of one white space, I can find the area of all of them. I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 white spaces. So if I can find the area of one white space, I can find the area of all of the white spaces by multiplying that one white space by 8. And so the way we can find this area of this white space is finding the area of the small square. And since this small square is half of one side and half of another, each of its dimensions are 5. And so the area of the small square is going to equal 5 squared, or 25. The area of the quarter circle is going to be 1/4 of pi r squared. Its radius is given by 5, and so we'll get 1/4 pi times 5 squared, which will equal 25 pi all over 4. And so that means that the area of the shaded space, if we put back, well, hold on. Let's start with the area of the square. The area of the shaded space, let's just call it AS, is going to equal the following. It's going to equal the small square, which is 25, minus, now remember that we have to count the number of white spaces in each quadrant, and each white space is going to have this particular area here. So we're not actually finding the area of the shaded, we're finding the area of the white space. And so if we want to find the area of just the white space, it's going to be the area of the small square, which is 25, minus the quarter circle. And that's going to be 25 minus 25 pi over 4, which is going to equal 100 minus 25 pi over 4. And that gives us the area of all of the white spaces in my region. Well, how many white spaces did we say there were? Looking at how we counted this, we said that there are 8 white spaces altogether. And so the total white space, let's call this ATW, is going to equal 8 times 100 minus 25 pi all over 4, which when I multiply this out will give me 200 minus 50 pi centimeters squared. And that's the total white space. That's all of the white space in this region. So therefore, to find the area of the shaded, so this is the total white space. This is one white space. To find the total, to find the area, the total shaded area, we take the area of the big square, which we said is 100, and we're going to subtract from it the total white space, which is 200 minus 50 pi. And this will give us 50 pi minus 100 centimeters squared. To answer part E of this question, all you have to do is take the area of the shaded region and divide it by the area of the total region, of the white space. So in order to answer E, you will take AS you'll take AS and divide it by AW. And that's how you would find that. In each of my examples, I found AS, and AW is usually found by subtracting AS from the A whole. So in this particular, or the whole area. So the whole area in part C would be A big. And if you wanted to find the white space, you would say A white is going to equal A big minus AS, and that will give you the area of the white space. In the other examples, we had the area of the white space found quite cleanly. And so you would just take AS and divide it by AW.